Hello everyone, welcome back to another Toyota 3.4 swap. Today we are in stage 3. We are going to be reassembling the 3.4 motor back together. I went ahead and did some stuff off camera already. I'll show you guys that in a bit. But for the most part, we have everything that we need. We're still waiting for a few more parts, but we don't need those to get the engine back together, like spark plug wires, a couple gasket, a couple hoses for the air tank, stuff like that. All that stuff can be put on once the engine's already fully assembled. So today I'm gonna show you guys a little bit of that. I'm not gonna film too much of myself putting the engine back. I'll go ahead and do some time lapse, but for the most part I'll show you guys what I'm doing. But first, let me show you guys the harness, the wire harness, and the crossover and all the exhaust. So I got John P out in Palmer, Alaska. He's a 3.4 Toyota guru, one of the best guys in the world here that does 3.4 swaps. So he's the one who did all my wire harness and my crossover, and then I also went ahead and got an exhaust system through him because it's just a simpler setup. So let me show you guys that real quick. So as you guys all know, the crossover originally dumps onto the passenger side for the 3.4. You have to make it so that it dumps onto the driver's side. So John went ahead and convert that over. Super simple to do, but again, you gotta know what you're doing. You just cut it, flip it over, and make sure it's correct. We're gonna use the downpipe. This is a 3.4 downpipe. You'll go ahead and cut this piece off. This tab here, you don't need that no more. So just get the grinder, chop that off. So that goes in there. We'll keep the O2. We'll keep this. We'll cut this flange off. We'll cut this flange off as close as we can. And then over here, this is a 3.0 flange. We'll cut this flange here, put this onto this side, and now that butts up onto this muffler system. This is a muffler system by Walker that's made for our trucks, our 3rd gen pickup. Part number Walker 47716. So this right here butts right into this piece right here. You just have to go get the gasket. So see how awesome that is? I just need to get the gaskets and some nuts and bolts. And then I don't have to bend anything. This is already made for the truck. It's all curved out already, made for the truck. I was gonna do my own exhaust system. You guys saw my parts list video, and then I thought about that. It wasn't worth doing it because the bends and all that stuff. The exhaust system was $50. If I wanted, the other system was like $50 plus all the connectors, $990, $45. That would have been more than that, right? So I paid $140. John sold me this setup for $140 because he had plenty of it. And then, so that's the muffler system. So we're not too worried about the exhaust. Exhaust is easy. Now here is the masterpiece between this 3.4. This is John's work right here, guys. So we went from a 3.4, a 98 3.4 automatic donor into a 94 5-speed 3.0. Now this is an auto tranny, auto ECU. You have to know what you're doing to convert these over into manual. Don't ask me any questions about wiring because I'm not gonna be able to tell you guys anything because I didn't do it. But this is what he did. He was able to wire this up for my manual. And we went ahead and delete some stuff. ABS, AC, ADD system, none of that stuff. So very simple. So this right here stays in the engine box, in the engine bay. It stays in the engine bay. And the only thing that goes into the dash or the firewall is this. These are the one that plugs into your dash wire and then your OBD2. So that's the only thing that goes into the firewall. Originally, you have this whole unit that goes into the firewall, but since he made it this setup, and he's done this setup before where he has they call it a gun box. So that's gonna be pretty sweet. Starter trigger for the starter. We have this harness that goes to the these are all the speed sensor and the T-case and the 4x4 switch, all that stuff. This goes down towards the tranny. This right here stays on the passenger side. This is the igniter along with the MAF plug, and this is the only thing that goes into the engine. You got this wire and this setup. All your spark plug, all your injectors, all your coils. This is the IAC, and I forgot which one this one, but we'll figure it out. And this is the TPS. Super simple, guys. Again, injectors, ground wire, your coolant sensor tells you how cold the coolant is. And then these go down to the, these are the evap. These are all the evap stuff, which we will be keeping. This goes down to oil pressure sending unit. And this is the crank sensor. I believe, crank sensor, yep. And this one here is the cam sensor. So this is the cam sensor, yep. Cam sensor and all that fun stuff. So how awesome is that? And these are the ECT sensor, I believe, yep. So look how amazing this is. And then this right here goes to the first O2 sensor. We're gonna be using the 3402. So we're using a 3402, first O2 sensor, and then this right here, this plug to this jumper, this is what he did for a cat delete. So we're not using a cat converter. You guys notice how there was no cat right there? We're not using a cat, and if you did have a cat, you'll just plug this directly to the O2. But since we're doing a cat delete, there's resistors in here, whatever he did in here, and he has more info about that. But then this plugs in, and then that goes into the O2. So now we don't have no check engine light. So how awesome is this, guys? Super, super awesome. And this is the work of John. So big credits to him. So that's the harness, exhaust system, no cat, don't have to worry about these scumbag thieves, and all simple to go. Now we do have to, when we build our pipe out, we're gonna build this pipe out maybe another, however long we need to replace the cat, and then we'll put that flange on, and then next to that flange we're gonna weld in a new O2 sensor mount, which I have. Technically I could weld a new O2, or technically I could cut over here, put a new pipe, and then weld the first O2 and then the downstream O2, but I'll see how this is. If this mount for the O2 is bad, then I'll go ahead and cut over here and we'll just put in a new O2 sensor, because, or a new O2 sensor mount, because I do have 2 pieces of that. So I'll see how this is. If I can't remove these and these studs are all bad, then we'll chop way over here, build a pipe out, put this flange, and then we'll connect here, and then that pipe between there, that's gonna have one O2 and one mount and 2 mounts of the O2 sensor. Hopefully that makes sense. All the intake and plenums are clean out. I went ahead and ordered another TOS. This is the toy only swap intake, because the original one I bought, I used that on the white 4Runner. Cylinder heads all ready, spark plugs ready. Everything's nice and clean. I did went ahead and order a new harness. This is the harness for the ECT, the engine coolant temperature. And I also went ahead and ordered a new ECT, which should be here tomorrow. This is one of the coolant bypass lines. This goes to the throttle body. I went ahead and got some new lines. And also right here, this is also another coolant line that goes to the throttle body. Went ahead and got a new line, because those you don't want to use the old one. So that's pretty much it right there. Everything's almost ready. During the meantime, I didn't film it. I went ahead and put a new oil pump. So I installed this 3 days ago. RTV is all solid. Went ahead and tapped this. Put a M12 150 bolt in here. So that's all good. This is where the original dipstick goes in. We don't need that no more. Went ahead and mount up the pickup tube already. I got a gasket for that. So mount that up. And mount up the... I went ahead and put the engine mounts on, because now you can do it. So you guys see how there's a hole right here? There's a hole for the dipstick. This is the reason why you don't want to put the dipstick in yet, because the dipstick, if you put it in, you can't put this engine mount on. So put the engine mount on first, and then the dipstick just goes into here to here. Not a bad idea. I kept the engine, I kept the oil filter loose, because once everything's assembled, we're going to install the oil filter, but we're also going to fill this oil filter up with oil. And then when I do the oil pan, I'll go ahead and also add some oil into the oil pump here, just to help prime it. So I went ahead and did some cleaning on the heads already. I used this right here. I forgot what these were called, but they're on Amazon. The blade is a particular blade. I forgot what the blade is made of, but I'm having a brain fart right now. But I did went ahead and clean it. I'm gonna go ahead and clean it one more time, get it nice and clean. Blow all the hose. We're gonna blow all the hose, the oil coolant hose. We're gonna blow all the head bolt hose, so that there's no debris and stuff. And then some stuff is gonna come out through here. That's why I don't want to put the oil pan in it. So I'm gonna clean this, use the air hose, clean it out, and then flip it over, put the oil pan in, and then flip it over again, and then put the cylinder head. You don't want to do the cylinder heads yet, because if you do the cylinder heads, it's gonna be super heavy to turn this over just to put the oil pan on. So clean it, blow it out, flip it around, put the oil pan on, and then flip it back up, and then install the heads, and then intake manifolds, etc., etc. So that's pretty much it. The rear main seal, we're gonna open this up, put a new rear main seal. Once we're done, we have to remove this. We have to take out the engine from the engine stand to do that, and then we'll do all that last. The oil seal, the clutch, and also the crossover install. We'll do all that last once we're ready to remove this engine off the stand, because this stand is blocking everything from doing that. So no problem with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this cleaning one more time. Maybe take like another 15 minutes each. Clean it really nice, and then after that we'll go from there. Exhaust manifold, they're all clean already. I went ahead and used the grinder, clean that up already. I still have these are pretty clean already, but I'm gonna go ahead and spray them down with some brake cleaner. So it's gonna be a fun day. Come along, enjoy the time lapse. Alright everyone, I got all the cams, head installed, timing belt installed, water pump, clutch fan, all that fun stuff. My last, my cam sensor was completely burnt up between the connection. When I sent it in to my wire guy, John was able to fix the wire harness, but then the cam sensor itself was pretty much toasted. So right now I have a new cam sensor that I got on eBay on order, should be here next week. So right now I'm not gonna put on the timing cover yet because that's where it goes, behind the timing cover. But for the most part we can do everything else. We can put the valve cover, put gaskets, exhaust manifold, and then probably even get this engine off the stand so we can go ahead and do the rear main seal and also the clutch. But for the most part everything's been going pretty smooth today. Just a lot of meticulous work and just taking my time, make sure I don't forget anything. Exhaust nuts, these are one-time use only, guys. So much easier to work on an engine when it is out of the truck. If I was doing this in the truck bay or the engine bay, 10,000 position versus 100 position. It's so much fun. I'd rather build head gaskets on engine stand. Not as bad. I'm glad that I'm doing the head gasket because you guys remember I was gonna skip out on it. But the fact that I did a head gasket and everything's nice and clean and I just know for sure it's good. I didn't film any of myself doing the cam work because the cam work is so meticulous and time consuming that there's like no point in filming that. But just take your time, read the manual book. I gotta give a quick shout out to Injector Masters for sponsoring the fuel injector rebuild. He did an amazing job. They're super clean, they're super fresh, they're all new now, or at least rebuilt to be new specs. So right now we're installing the fuel injector. I got the first rail in. Now we're gonna do the driver's side rail. Pretty simple. Here we are as of now. Cylinder head, everything installed. I'm just getting ready to install the intake. But I want to show you guys the wire harness. Look how amazing this harness is. So simple and clean. Declutter. Everything's nicely in there. One bracket here. I gotta find out where I want to mount this. It's a very simple setup. All your hoses is nicely organized. Fuel return line, fuel regulator, heater hose. I gotta find out which heater hose I'm gonna use because these heater hoses are not good. You got one here and one here. This is new IAC valve. The fuel line, this is the fuel line right here. It usually goes on this side, but we just flip it to the passenger side. ECU down here, this is ECU. This is to the transmission, MAF. These are your coil packs. Super nice. Cam sensor, I'm waiting for the cam sensor like we said. Everything is just so beautiful. I think my cam sensor needs to go behind here, so hopefully there's still room for that. I think there should be room. Man, so sweet. Look at that. This fuel line is loose right now because I'm still waiting for my ECT, my engine coolant temperature. We're gonna install that, so we have to keep this loose so we can move it out of the way. Knock sensor harness, brand new knock sensor harness wrapped in heat shield. Brand new ECT sensor, this right here goes to the ECT. That's all new. New PCV valve. Everything's nice. New gasket, new grommets, new everything. Fuel injectors cleaned by Injector Masters. We're still waiting for spark plugs because I used my the spark plugs that I bought. I put those into the white 4Runner, so I'm gonna go pick those up tomorrow morning at the auto parts stores. But everything is super delicious, super clean. Let me go ahead and install the lower intake manifold, and we'll be able to install the upper after that and be almost finished. Taking my sweet time, making sure I go through everything. Crank sensor, oil pressure sending unit. Make sure we use the 3.0. The 3.0 and the 3.4, the plug is the same, but you have to use the 3.0 sensor. Super sweet. Everything's nice. This is the O2 sensors down here. This is the original 3/4 positive wire. We went ahead and used only the positive wire and the stock plastic guard. And then this just goes to the starter. Super simple. So really nice. New timing belt, all ASIN, OEM. The only thing that's not OEM is the gaskets. The gaskets are Felpro. Those are Felpro. The gaskets for the exhaust are Rimflex. And the OEM gaskets for the head gasket, that's OEM. So that's Toyota. But for the most part, everything's high quality. Super amazing. Super awesome. Current time is 9 p.m. I think I've been at it for 8+ hours, just taking my sweet time. And here I present you guys the 3/4 5EZE Toyota. This is a 98 automatic donor that we are converting to a 5-speed. As I mentioned earlier, we are still waiting for a new cam sensor, so that's why this is open. We are also still waiting for a new ECT. That's why this piece is loose, so we can open it and access it. Man, it's a fresh engine. This is a fresh engine besides a bottom end built. So everything from the head up has been brand new. All new gasket. I had to order a new starter because I don't feel like using this starter. This is the original starter. It works good. It's all gunky, but man, I want to get some shiny parts onto this motor. So we do have a new starter coming in from Amazon, Denso. ASIN timing belt by ASIN, high quality bearings, ASIN fan clutch, water pump, new Denso oil pump, everything, Denso alternator, new crank seal, front main seal, new cam seals, valve cover seals, all new RTV, dipstick, oil filter, oil cooler delete, custom wire harness from John P. and Palmer. We're still waiting for spark plugs. I gotta go pick those up tomorrow, so I have to cover up like this for now. And I also I have to go pick up the NGK spark plugs. I ordered some NGK spark plugs for Amazon, but it's gonna take like 2+ weeks. So I'm just gonna go grab some from Napa, which is like a couple bucks more. So no big deal. Remember last time when I did my 3/4 swap, I put the crossover on, and when I removed the engine, I damaged it from the engine stand. So don't install the crossover until you have the engine off the stand. So once we have it off the stand, we'll go ahead and do the pilot bearing, rear main seal, and maybe new gasket, clutch, and then we'll put the crossover. I still got to figure out the heater hoses. And then we'll be able to drop this motor in. It's all ready to go. We just have to do some back end work, but man, this thing is beautiful, man. The wire harness is so beautiful too. So clean, so simple. We got rid of so many things that's not needed. So nice, man. All new bolts, all new gaskets. Missing one little M6 nut, so I gotta go find I'll go find one. This is the 3.0 engine mount. You have to use the 3.0 engine mount. So all that's new. No AC. I think I don't need that bolt right there, so I'll go ahead and remove that. Power steering's been flush. We're gonna put new power steering belt, alternator belt, and we have to use the 3.0 banjo. This is the 3.0 banjo bolt. You have to use this one. All of this is 3/4 though. And there's no modification needed for the power steering and the alternator. You're using the same bracket. I forgot where this mounts to. This is the alternator bracket. I don't know if it mounts right here or over here, but no big deal. My Forerunner is a 3/4 swap, so I'm gonna go take a look at my Forerunner tomorrow and check that out. I still have to torque this down, so that's the reason why I have it here, so I don't forget. So I'm gonna torque this down once I have the engine. I might even do tomorrow, but the way I'm gonna do it is that you have to put a few bolts in here at the rear crank. You have to put a few bolts in there and use a bar to hold it in place so that when you turn from the front it doesn't spin. So I might be able to do it from this end here, and if I'll go ahead and get that done and go from there. We went with the 3.0 oil pan and 3.0 pickup tube. The 3/4 baffle, you don't need to mess with it. So this is pretty much it, guys. Super amazing, man. So much trash cleaning up right now. Trash, and those are all cardboards of trash. But it's all good, man. Time and built with love. Look at that beautiful motor. So nice. And man, what else do we have? We have the clutch. So that's the flywheel, and that's the clutch. So we're gonna go ahead and do that tomorrow. But that's gonna wrap it up for today's video. If you guys got any questions, let me know in the comment section below. Follow my Instagram and stay tuned for the next video, because we're gonna drop this baby into my dream truck, my 94 5-speed Toyota pickup X cab in beautiful red. Super stoked, cannot wait, guys. Catch you guys next time.